What's up, everybody? It's me, Disbearity here, and I woke up this morning, going on to the usual Total War Reddit that I usually go on, and we get an article from PC Games, which is called "The Future of Total War Warhammer 3 and Immortal Empires of CA." Now, first off, I'm up here thinking that the game's gonna be over with or ending with this title here. They just dropped everything. Mortal Empires out. That's it. We're not gonna get like anything else. So, first things first, PC games. Sorry, we love you. Change the title. Make it sound. Do it better. Make it something like the future of DLC or let's say like the future DLC of Total War or whatever that's coming out. I don't know. Just fix the title. So, anywho, during this article, they discuss the future of Immortal Empires and also with plans for DLC. So we're going to be reading some of this stuff and we're going to be discussing this. So I will be posting the link to this uh, in the description below. So make sure to, watch out for that link there. All right. So first things first is they did an interview with director Ian Roxburgh, who first joined Creative Assembly as a marketing manager around 2 decades ago. He had a problem to solve: how to explain to the audience what Total War is all about. You play this giant sandbox as you're playing it, and it's all very generic. But if you keep your proper notes on it, some of the most incredible stories develop. That's one thing we're going to want to do more and more in the future. The storytelling thing is something we're going to keep on developing massively. But, and I'm saying this to the fans, don't worry, there will be always be a sandbox gameplay and Total War game. That's absolutely sacrosanct. Hopefully I said that right. So it is hard to argue with that. A few months back, Creative Assembly released the first iteration of Immortal Empires, the most content rich strategy sandbox in gaming. The combination of three tentpole releases, as the team calls them, alongside numerous pieces of DLC and free updates. It's been a long time in the making, continued inspiration for such a wide reaching project. It might be hard to come by in any selling or setting, but when Roxburgh and the first team sat down to their newly acquired Warhammer license to good use, they had the opposite problem. How do you fit such a expansive world into a traditional Total War format? So, that makes a lot of sense. They had a plan with way back in game one, but with each game or each iteration, they are changing things up, making things a lot better, improving on a lot of quality of life issues that they had from each iteration, which makes sense, pretty cool. Now, that is a question of how do you fit such an expansive world into the traditional Total War? And that is a definite challenge there from a developing standpoint. We sat down and started looking at the massive amount of content and lore. We wanted to do everything. Ultimately, people are going to want to play this world with everything in it. But there's no way you can do that in one game and do that justice, either from a Total War or Warhammer lore perspective. We'll need to do at least 2 or 3 games, and even that won't be enough. Eventually, the trilogy was decided on, with Mortal Empires as a long term goal to give dedicated fans a free reward for sticking with the trilogy. The Warhammer world fully realized, which I appreciate. Mortal Empires was freaking or is freaking amazing, but it's still in the type of beta stage. So more to come, right? More to come. It was baby steps, says DLC director Rich Aldrich. When we started this project, so many of us were diehard Warhammer nuts. Even if we haven't played for a while, it was amazing seeing everyone bringing their armies out of their old shoeboxes and stuff. We got more ambitious with the trilogy as we went on. It was almost like testing the water with Mortal Empires and having the end goal offered endless opportunities for iteration. But that comes with its own challenge. What to prioritize now and what to save for later as the final map started to take shape. Okay. So he says, well, we never felt that we were bare bones initially. It felt massive at the time. It just got even more massive as time went on, says Roxburgh. We would love to have done minor settlement battles for the game one, but the art cost was astronomical. Ooh, to that point where we would have to redo the art and pipelines. At the end of the day, we got a timeline and a budget that we can't do everything, which is true. Because in Warhammer 2, or actually, well, after the release of Warhammer 1, they did make all that money back. And then some. Same thing with game 2. So he says here, the hardest meeting I had was when we were discussing Warhammer 1 rosters, says Aldridge, and we were discussing vampire counts, and there was just so much choice. We knew we couldn't do it all, but I took inspiration from that going forward. I find it rewarding that there's more to come. We can start talking to our fan base. We can start drip feeding little things in there, in the names, background descriptions, loading screens, quotes. We just want to flesh out the Warhammer world as much as possible. I mean, but that is true. But sometimes, you don't want to give the players the wrong indication, especially like if you're making hints towards like Kingdoms of End and Koresh, and then you know those two factions don't follow through, which is like pretty bad in my opinion. Okay, moving on. So we approach it like history. We don't go and here's a load of designs that we want to do in Total War game, but the lore doesn't support it. We start the other way around. Let's understand the lore in this world first. We played the tabletop, read the books, absorbed ourselves in the world, and then let's design the game of spirit. So where's Arabia at? Okay, okay. I'm just kidding. There's plenty of times when we thought the Lord doesn't really support what we need to work, he continued, and that involved having a really good relationship with Games Workshop. There are times when we had been like, okay, I know ideally you didn't do this from your perspective, but we really need the game to work this way. And they'll be happy to budge because they trust us, which is good, which is very good. We love the gray areas in lore, says Aldrich. What I mean by that is not everything is necessarily depicted by Games Workshop. We read the army books and the supplements top to bottom and asked questions, and those become inspiration certainly for the early DLCs. Bellegarde being the prime example. There was a bit in his lore about how he go to his ancestors to pull on their strength. So that inspired his ancestors being represented by ghost dwarves. Really cool. To compare the surge in players in Warhammer 3 has been since release, Immortal Empires of the revival of Bellegarde's ghostly ancestors might be overdramatic and probably worth a grudging. It's hard to ignore the wave of community positivity and Steam review scores that's followed in the Mega Mass wake. Content is always welcome, of course, but Immortal Empires brought with it another shift from Creative Assembly, a huge amount of information and transparency following a months-long period of relative quietness, which is true because it's like they dropped Immortal Empires and Champions of Chaos, and then after that, you just been it's just been quiet. There's just been nothing going on, and so everyone was expecting, or at least expecting, like Chaos Dwarfs to come out in like I don't know October or this month of November, but we haven't seen that yet. So it's like, what's going on over there? It's a lot of it's a lot of mismanagement, in my personal opinion. The developers will love to tell you everything about it because they're super excited about what they're making, but obviously we have to say the right things at the right time, says Aldrich. It did feel like a good opportunity to, with the post content support, reiterate our desires. It's hard making games. It's not easy task. There are setbacks and challenges, but we look to overcome them. And we look to take inspiration from our communities. So we're always open to saying we want to hear about the good so we can make more of the good. We want to hear about the bad so we can either fix that or move away from that. The feeling among the team as we like to be more transparent and open going forward, we like people to understand that or understand what it is we're trying to do. Okay, so I'm a, that right there, that paragraph right there, kind of like touched me. Not what I mean, it touched me. It's like they wanted us to feel sorry for them, as in they're saying like where games making games is hard. Well, yes, that is true. Making games is very hard. I'm not a game developer myself, but I see the love and I see the sweat that you know that you guys put into the game. But don't you know that like you can't excuse the mismanagement that's been going on. You can't excuse that. That's what they're trying to go for. They want us to excuse that. You know, you guys have teams. You guys need to be more communicated. That means that your upper management needs to be worked on. At least in my personal opinion. At a job, you want to be proficient. And if you guys are trying to say, well, making games is hard, that's like an excuse, and I can't go. I can't go for that. Basically, I sound that. And that's just me though. So going forward, then it seems transparency is something the team is committed to upholding as new releases and changes follow. And as it sounds like part of those changes might involve a whole new type of expansion for the trilogy, tested with Immortal Empire's Endgame Crisis, which is cool. Which is cool. I want them to like add in the Realm of Chaos into Immortal Empires. That would be actually freaking amazing if they would add Immortal Empires, because that is a big test. Like they can literally, I actually a while back did a video where I discussed that they can easily add Realm of Chaos and do an actual end time scenario where all the chaos, factions start off in the north, like in the very, very north, in their own realms or something like that, or in like Norsca, right? And then once the end time starts to happen, they crawl or teleport in. They don't have to like just make their way over. They can just teleport in and start the end times and stuff like that. That would be really cool. And the only way that the ordered factions can probably win is by taking down like a spire in the very north. Otherwise, eventually you will die. Something like that. Now that would be cool. But hey, that's will they do that? I highly doubt it. Okay, our vision, our mantra for it was to have a suite of options and let you, as the player, choose which ones you want to interact with, or even turn them all off. Says Aldrich. We obviously pretty much put all land masses into the game and into Warhammer 3. We're probably not going to be increasing the map in size in those directions with it. We'll absolutely reshape things, tinker with it, add depth, add challenge. The end games were just the first effort trying to do that and give people experience or a different experience. See, I can agree with that, but I think that they should expand the map size a little bit, at least by a couple hexes, for it can give you that feeling that it takes like at least 2 turns from going from like Altdorf to Grunberg or something like that, instead of just one fell swoop. But that might basically require a whole new shape of rebalancing. So could happen, could not happen. You never know. Okay, so there's absolutely no reason why going forward we may not do the kind of things where you have to pack up in-game challenges or something that you can buy as DLC to freshen up that experience within Immortal Empires, says Roxburgh. There's room to think about some off-cut or off-the-cut DLC to put some more gameplay in there rather than just churning out new models. New models, though, are still being all but guaranteed. A fan favorite speculation at the moment is an expansion based on the much beloved Tamarkin, the Throne of Chaos campaign supplement for the tabletop game, and the gargantuan Gangrenius Total Dragons it contains. But Games Workshop supplements are also known for advancing the narrative of the setting. And with the sandbox of Immortal Empires being CA's prime focus going forward, there's still room for all sorts of narrative milestones. Now, here's something that they could do, which they can actually take from they can actually take this from, well, they probably already did, which is from Total War Troy, is have like certain boss battles, with your armies versus like a gigantic dragon or something like that. And they can definitely possibly do that, in my opinion. All right, so we're getting closer to the end of this article. It is what Ian set up to do in Warhammer 2, says Aldrich, to bring some of that what we didn't have quite so much of in Warhammer 1. We try to find the right balance where we try to bring the lore to the forefront for people to enjoy. I knew that when we did it, the Warden and the Punch, that's a great story from Laura Eltharion and Grom that we have to tell. There's also the opportunity for players to make their own stories, but a structured narrative certainly has a place. We know a lot of people really enjoy it, so I think you'll get to see more of that. There's a lot of stuff we learned from Warhammer 2 and 3 about narrative and sandbox that we'll take forward in the next stage, says Roxborough, and possibly experiment with over time with DLCs. It's something that we're committed to getting right, evolving and improving with all manners of games, not just Warhammer. It's something we know a lot of people enjoy alongside their sandbox. So, yeah, this was a pretty good read. They kind of gave us a little bit of nothing though. They didn't really tell us like what's coming forward. I mean, which is okay. But like I say, it's just it. I wanted, I guess you say, a little bit better news. Like at least give us a little bit of a more of hints of Chaos Dwarf, or something that's like freshly coming. But I guess it is what it is. We have to still sit here and speculate. So for you guys who are enjoyed reading this with me, please definitely consider to like and subscribe. Also, make sure to hit the notification bell down below to be notified on when the next video is coming out. Thank you guys for watching. Thank y'all for your support and all that you guys do. You guys have a good one. Peace out. Much love, everybody. If you guys enjoyed this video, please leave a like and also hit the bell notification down below. Thanks for watching.